Newsflash. One of the reasons why you should care about what's going on in Bangladesh is because we wear their clothing. If you take a look at the tag on your shirt, you might find that it says Made in Bangladesh. And a lot of the companies in the United States and around the world that make the clothes that we wear are actually hiring people in Bangladesh and factories in Bangladesh to make our clothing. And recently, because of a lot of negative media attention and international human rights groups, a lot of these corporations have improved working conditions in their factories. And Bangladesh now has laws against child labor. And we saw this quite a lot as we were traveling around the country. There were signs saying we do not employ children, and those signs were in English. But there were always huge crowds of people gathered outside the gates to these factories. It seems like jobs working at these factories are in high demand. So here's a little story about what Shahjahan said about Americans. Shahjahan was one of our security guards, and we became friends because we were roommates on some of the trips that we took as a group together. And when we were on the boat in the Sundarbans, one night we got into a conversation, and he said, "You know, your group of Americans is exactly like how I imagined they would be. And everything that I thought came true when I met you guys, and you're the first Americans I've ever met." And I said, "Really, what did you think about us?" And he told me, and then went to sleep. And then the next morning, I realized I really wished I had written down these words. And so I asked him if he remembered what they were, and he knew right off the top of his head what those 4 words were, which I think says a lot about how he's really thought about this. And this is what he said. And these are his exact words: peacefully, actively, solemn, and quietly. And I told him, "Shahjahan, you're wrong. I wish you were right, but I don't think that Americans are like that." And he said, "No, you're wrong. I've seen it right in front of me, and this is how Americans are." So there's some food for thought. Another news flash. If you eat shrimp, and I think almost everyone I know eats shrimp, at least some shrimp sometimes, there's a high probability it's coming from Bangladesh. A lot of the shrimp we eat is farmed there. And just think for a moment about the carbon footprint of each of the shrimp that you might eat. I don't know how much it is, but you know you're headed in the right direction if you're at least considering the carbon footprints of the items that you buy. So one of the things I've been telling my students and trying to act out by my own actions is this difference between travel and vacations. And I think travel is so important because you get to see real places. You don't go to resorts and made up places. You get to meet new people. It's not just traveling with the people that you already know and love forever and you're going on vacations, but actually going and interacting with the new people that you're visiting wherever you're traveling. You also learn some new words. You can learn a new language when you're staying in a place for a little bit longer and trying out the new language. You can change your outlook. You get new ideas and opinions based off of the things that happen to you when you spend some time in a new place that's a real place. And finally, you can begin to build solidarity. This was a major theme of our trip, and many of our students were most moved by the chance to feel together and at one with the children in the slums that we worked with, or the mothers that were having prenatal problems because of high water salinity levels, or the people that we met on the chars who are subsistence farmers, and they welcomed us into their homes and onto their land, and the students were really moved by this opportunity to really connect with people. And this was a great quote that one of the parents at my school told me about. "Travel is fatal to prejudice, bigotry, and narrow-mindedness, and many of our people need it sorely on these accounts. Broad, wholesome, charitable views of men and things cannot be acquired by vegetating in one little corner of the earth all one's lifetime."